What's going on, sports fans? This is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Welcoming you all to the studio here in WTV 10 for another Friday Roundtable. We got more sports to talk about, and we'll just start by talking about, of course, the usual, baseball.
Unfortunately, we kind of have to. The Detroit Tigers have had a rough 10-game home stretch in spite of sweeping the White Sox and winning the first game against the New York Yankees. They would drop the other two games and also lose last night 2-1 to the Houston Astros, the first of 4 games. They will play a game tonight and then two afternoon games on Saturday and Sunday to close out their homestand before they head to New York to face the Yankees again. And then head to Arlington for the 4th of July weekend series with the Rangers, with our Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday games off on the 3rd for the World Cup match at nearby AT&T Stadium / Dallas Stadium.
34, 47. Well, at least you're not bottom of the AL Central, thank goodness. But
Yeah.
5-5 in the last 10 games. I mean, honestly, I didn't think we'd be at this point. When I thought about, when I was thinking over, okay, what's my MLB predictions, I kind of thought the Tigers would be, actually, I really thought the Tigers would be in a much better spot than what they are right now. But
Yeah.
such has been the course of this season, whether it's due to injuries or just the chemistry's not falling into place. Galore. It sounds like to me it's a multitude of things. Just
Verlander still being injured has not really helped. He was supposed to have pitched on Sunday, but more injury setbacks pushed him back. This is definitely not good at all, to put it not politely. Meanwhile, you got a team like the New York Mets who just fired Carlos Mendoza, and they're going through their own problems, just to put it nicely, in the NL East.
you know what? I will say this to Coach Mendoza. I would like to say thank you to him on behalf of my Cubs. They in a way have helped the Cubs get back on track, who are currently sitting 44-37, second in the NL Central, and 7-3 in their last 10 games. Now, a lot of positive momentum for the Cubs. They've got themselves back in a playoff position, being second in their division, but can they stay there? That is the big question. Can they maintain that momentum? Of course, here's the thing. Yeah, we're back in playoff position, but that's when it helps, to play a team like the Mets. I mean, when you get those are really just get-right games for the Cubs, if I am being honest. Question is, when we start playing more of our teams in our division and some of the best, like the AL has to throw at us and more, can the Cubs, can they win a couple of those series, or at least win more than one game in those series? That's what I want to know.
But really, it's not a fun time right now, but we always keep saying baseball's a marathon, not a sprint, for good reason. Unfortunately, some of these teams are clearly struggling in the marathon as it is. And it's not fun. It's still fun to go to a ball game. It's just not fun when you know that your team is not in contention for the postseason. Now, what also might not be fun and might be the most grueling of marathons, it could very well be the lockout that could be coming in December. We'll see how that goes. I saw the initial proposal for the MLB, including the salary cap, trying to make the claims on how it's like the other 3 leagues. At some point, the MLBPA is going to have to get off its high horse. It's going to have to realize we have to do something to fix the imbalance. Swallow the pill and accept some form of a cap or floor. But we'll see what happens.
Don't know. I mean, I don't know a whole lot, or nowhere near as much as Tyler does when it comes to this impending lockout. But like Tyler, I'm optimistic that they can avoid some things if the MLB, can get things like greed out of their mind and just figure out, okay, how to solve this. Talk with the players, talk with the teams. Let's figure out something, all right? We don't need a lockout. Baseball does not need a lockout. They've already had, enough bad news this month. I won't go into details about all these things, but here's the thing, all right? We enjoy going to the ballpark. Even, baseball may not be my favorite sport, but what I do enjoy about it is it's a relaxing way to spend the afternoon, whether your team wins or loses. You could just go to the ballpark, and even if you don't really care about the action, you could just sit back, relax, enjoy the beautiful weather and that stuff. If we have a lockout, that means one less thing to help us get out of the house, and just relax.
Well, there's also minor league and independent
True.
baseball. Like next weekend, I'm going to be in a cabana suite at UWM Field in Utica for United States Professional Baseball League baseball or USPBL. So I'm going to be doing at least that, and like I mentioned, the minor leagues.
Yep.
Those look to be seemingly unaffected.
Which is good. We need some of us need at least some form of baseball to watch. And Tyler, I hope you have fun in that and enjoy the sweet life, as we call it.
Yeah, it should be quite interesting. And before we continue on, we should like to let you know that there will, with this upcoming weekend being the 4th of July next live, we will not have an episode on July 3rd. The studio will be closed that day. Normal episodes will resume on the 10th.
Yep. So, sports fans, before we shift to the next subject, hey, enjoy the fireworks on the 4th of July and bring out your best red, white, and I mean, this is just a suggestion. You don't have to do this, but my recommendation to all of you is bring out your best red, white, and blue wardrobes.
The opportunity to celebrate your 250th anniversary only happens once. Make it a good one.
Oh, yeah, the big 250. It's time to go red, white, and boom. Well, for lack of better words, that's kind of how I hope to celebrate. Not by using big fireworks. I'll just,
If you want to see fireworks, leave it to the pros.
Anyway.
Just keep your dogs inside and give them whatever you can for ear protection.
Yeah.
Poor pooch.
My family and I, we're looking for quieter fireworks this year. We're not going to get the big boomers, of course. We just want, like, the quiet fountains. So that's, in terms of fireworks, that's my family's plans. All right.
I mentioned my plans as well, so that covers that.
Yep. All right. And speaking of, all right, I know you sports fans, speaking of Detroit sports, I know the Tigers have given you a lot of bad news this year. They've had a rough year, but that's not the worst news that Detroit sports has going for it right now. And I'm going to hand the floor over to Tyler Lavalette. He's going to explain the very bad news for Detroit sports.
Oh, it's gotten bad. It's not just the Larkin talk. It's not just the fact that the top one of our prospects just got traded to New Jersey for draft picks and Amadeus Lombardi. Terrion Arnold was booked in Florida for 8 counts of robbery, 4 total, and 4 kidnapping attempts for a robbery that took place at an Airbnb he rented back in February. He has stated his innocence through his attorney, and neither the NFL nor the Lions have said anything about this. He is due in court on Monday, is currently in jail in I think it's Hillsborough County, Florida, from what I'm seeing. His time in the NFL could be over, as the reports indicate that if found not guilty on all 8 charges, life in prison.
Holy crap. Like, when Tyler told me this news, that was the first thing that went through my mind is, holy crap, whoa. So here's about what I know. So I'll give credit to USA Today for the information I'm about to tell you. That's the article I got all this from, so just giving credit where credit is due.
Well done.
Yep. So Terrion Arnold, he surrendered to authorities in Tampa. And like Tyler said, facing so many charges, kidnapping and robbery, which, holy crap. You mentioned 8 charges for kidnapping and 4 charges for robbery.
Well, 4 of each, 8 total.
Each. Okay. Still, that's a lot wow, that's heavy.
Must be for 4 people, that other people, for those that must compare the robbery back in February.
Yep. So, and I was reading a little bit of this article from USA Today, and here's something else they pointed out. So Arnold is accused of coordinating and directing, and then co-defendants to lure 3 men into an apartment where the victims were robbed, beaten, and held at gunpoint. The press release states, of course. Mm-hmm. And then, according to the release, the Lions cornerback initially reported to the Largo Police Department that he had been a victim of theft, $200,000 in personal items was stolen from an Airbnb that, of course, Mr. Terrion Arnold owned.
Right.
Wow. Goodness me. This is heavy. Like, again, I'm just learning all about this stuff, but if all this is true and he's found guilty of all this, oh, man. Just, wow. I'm just absolutely speechless. Like, this is heavy.
Super heavy at that. It's just not something we can find humor in one bit. People say he was basically a good guy, and this happens? What a way to shatter such an image you're trying to cultivate as an NFL player. You're making the money that 99% of us are going to dream would ever make. We'll never get to make that. And you're throwing away because of a robbery that you coordinated, may or may not have helped on, in revenge retaliation for what happened back in February. Is it really worth it?
Yeah, at this point, with that many charges on him, he's, in a way, there's a good chance he's just thrown his life away. He's pretty much, like Tyler said, he may be spending life in prison for, all these charges of kidnapping and robbery. If it's all found, like if they they'll investigate more into this, and if all this comes to the surface true, then, oh man, the thing that makes this is sad. It makes me sad hearing all these stories about these athletes. They finally make it to, the NFL, the NBA, the big leagues. They get that first contract. They start earning money. And then they end up making decisions that they end up throwing away their careers and throwing away their lives with poor decision making. It's astonishing how much something like this actually happens. I think about Henry Ruggs II. He had the talent to be a phenomenal NFL wide receiver, and he threw it all away in a drunk driving accident in which a person and her dog were killed.
Boy.
It is so sad to hear stories like this, and it's sad how many times we hear about an athlete who gets it all, gets that rookie contract, makes it to the big time, and then they make a mistake, and their career and their lives come crashing straight down. And here's the thing. That's why having a sports psychiatrist is important, to make sure the mindset of these players is correct, and to make sure that they are focused on the straight and narrow. Like, focus on your career, stay out of trouble, stay away from partying, late night, all that stuff. Stay away from the alcohol, anything. My advice to people who are aspiring to be athletes or aspiring to do anything in life, stay away from distractions that can lead you astray. Because otherwise, you take into one wrong indulgence, and just like that, your life could end up being in the gutter.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. He's doing court on Monday, currently in jail, and unfortunately, it's like we keep saying, it's not looking good. Some of the images show him not wearing an orange jumpsuit. I won't go too far into detail, but you kind of know what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Some types of vest,
I guess my final thoughts on this is, I hope the best for this guy, and I hope that he learns the hard lessons that are coming his way from these mistakes that he made. And I hope, somehow he doesn't end up going to prison for life, and when he does get out of jail or whatever happens to him going forward, I just hope, take the lessons learned, grow as a person, and hopefully I pray that Terrion Arnold redeems himself in the future.
I hope. And what this does, I realize, is it makes the Eagles, who after a different cornerback in 24, they must have seen some red flags. So their GM must have seen some character issues that the Lions didn't. I don't know what at that time, but now it's like they saw something. They went a different direction. That pick is turning out to have done pretty well for themselves. You just don't know about back what happened even just 2 years alone. No one knows. And now we're seeing a clear bust right before our very eyes.
Yep. Hard to foretell what the future holds for NFL players. I mean, we can't tell what the future holds. The best thing we can do, like, that's when scouts, and GMs, as Tyler mentioned, have to work extra hard. Establish, like, looking at not only, like, the physical traits and the talents of each NFL player, but also the mental state. Like, a couple years ago, I think it was somewhere in the 1990s when NFL GMs really started taking a harder look into what's in the mindset of these players, handing out random quizzes and that stuff. But that stuff is important for GMs. They got to make sure not only they're getting the best players, but players with a focused mindset, one that's focused on the hard work and everything that comes with being a football player, all the responsibilities, and not as much on the distractions outside of football. This is sad. Hearing about Terrion Arnold and landing himself some prison time, it's sad.
Just nice guy from what we were seeing. Looked forward to being in Detroit when he was drafted. Now it could be gone. Now, like I said, no suspension yet. No, not getting cut by the Lions. Nothing from the NFL. Real discipline, because this is all just still being in the early stages. His attorneys have said via his attorneys that he's innocent. We'll see what happens come Monday, because that's when he's next due in court. Still in prison, and bond denied, but regardless, this isn't good, and that's putting it not lightly.
Yeah, it's sad.
That it is.
It makes me sad for Terrion Arnold. I'm sad for his family, and hopefully whatever comes out of this, I just hope that Terrion Arnold comes out a better man and one who learns very well the lessons from these mistakes.
Agreed. We'll just have to wait and see what happens.
That's all we can do. Just time will tell. Oh, man. So right now I'm feeling sad for Terrion Arnold, but the next subject is going to have me going from feeling sad to just, my gears grinding, just absolutely annoyed, angry. How much more does Caitlin Clark have to take in the WNBA for somebody in that organization to actually do something? And for those of you who don't know, so Wednesday night against I believe the Phoenix Mercury she got hurt, and during one play, a person by the name of Alyssa Thomas, Caitlin Clark fell down, and then person on the basketball player, by the name of Alyssa Thomas, she basically went up to Caitlin Clark while she was down and literally put her fist like this on her throat. And initially, nothing was done at first. There was no rulings or no fouls or anything, which I thought was ridiculous at the time. And yesterday, the WNBA, they took a further look into this. And after a review, Alyssa Thomas was given a flagrant 2 foul and suspended 1 game for basically putting her fist into Caitlin Clark's neck like this. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm outraged by this. What say you, Tyler? Oh, man.
What is going on? You have a top generational talent in your league, and you're treating her like garbage? What is the league doing on this? That's basically squandering such a good opportunity. And heck, I've been seeing reports that the Fever haven't been playing her at times because of injury concerns and not telling fans about it well in advance, which leads in turn to less attendance on the home games when she doesn't play. It's the Caitlin Clark effect. Has this league doing well, and they're not doing enough to protect it. What are you guys and girls doing? What? I'm just speechless.
You know what? This is something only God understands. I could not possibly hope to explain even all of this has been why all this is happening. This has been happening in all 3 years that Caitlin Clark has been in the WNBA. This continues to happen. She continues to get pushed around, abused. And now, last night, of course, someone decided to put their fist on her neck in a punching motion. And by the way, shame on the WNBA, because the punishment that they gave to Alyssa Thomas, in my opinion, was not good enough. Nowhere near good enough. 1 game, no. Thomas should have been suspended 5 games. 5 games. And if I may say so, I'm going to add this. If I'm Caitlin Clark, I would seriously consider pressing charges, because that could be looked at the way that Alyssa Thomas did it, and you can go back and look at the replay. It sure as heck looks like assault, which it makes it even more worse. And on top of that, Tyler mentioned this, that the Indiana Fever have been kind of not playing her due to injury concerns. In that same game, she had a turnover in that same game, by the way, and Stephanie White, for one reason or another, decided to bench Caitlin Clark. So, from what I'm hearing, Clark may not have been injured. Rather, the coaching staff or Stephanie White decided to bench her after 1 turnover.
1.
Yep. Seriously, I'm not making this up.
Ay.
If Caitlin Clark is hurt, though, which I have a feeling something tells me she might be too, then I wish her the best recovery. But there's just more to this when it comes. I also think that the Indiana Fever really do not have her back as much as some people think they do, especially the coach. Now, I'll give Coach Stephanie White a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. She might not have seen what happened at first, so she might have been focusing on the shot that was going up around the same time that Caitlin Clark went down and got her, punched in the throat again. But I have done some digging and have done some research, because I talked about how, either in my Wax on Wednesday vlog, I talked about how Stephanie White either needs to do a better job defending Caitlin Clark, or she needs to resign or be fired as the coach of the Indiana Fever. And I've done some further digging into this past incidents and even, some parts of her past. And it turns out Stephanie White really has, for one reason or another, I can't explain, Stephanie White really has not had Caitlin Clark's back all throughout her NBA. In the 3 seasons she's been in the WNBA, Stephanie White appears to have really not had Caitlin Clark's back. And yeah, I know she said that I heard about what she said afterwards in the post game, and I'll again give her some benefit of the doubt. But you know what? In terms of her having Stephanie White having Caitlin Clark's back, I don't buy it. Something is just off there. Something is not. And I also don't think, with the exception of Sophie Cunningham, I think most of the Indiana Fever organization, from most of the players all the way to the top, do not have Caitlin Clark's back.
Something is wrong with that team. We don't know what it is. There's some sort of toxicness going around in the state capital team's locker room. And heck, there's a toxicness against Caitlin that's going around the league when you think about it. If you look at it from certain angles, not necessarily going into what, but still, it's just not a good look. Oh, and she's not part of the 30th anniversary poster. Maybe they didn't get a right to use her. Maybe she decided not to do it. I don't know, but it's still not a good look to not have your biggest trailblazer part of a special WNBA commemorative 30th anniversary poster with all of what she's done for the league these past 3 years she's been with the Fever. Come on. Do better.
That poster is a joke, by the way. I'm just going to say. Here's what makes it a joke. So you leave Caitlin Clark off of the poster, but you put Angel Reese on the poster, who's doing nowhere near as well as Caitlin Clark, especially when it comes to the stats and all that stuff, and contributing to her team. Really,
Could be rights issues.
Could be. But aside from that, the poster just to me comes off as a joke. All right. Here's the thing. This whole thing with this whole beef between the WNBA and Caitlin Clark's It's been happening her whole career, and it's getting worse. To the point where, I wouldn't... Here's the thing. I adore Caitlin Clark for continuing to fight on, for continuing to play in a league that absolutely does not like her. And I also would not blame her if she wanted to leave the WNBA, go overseas, to Europe, because right now, the WNBA does not deserve Caitlin Clark. They don't. She is bringing in tons of eyes onto a sport that has had trouble all throughout their history getting viewers. She brings in a lot of cash, too, and she plays great basketball. Okay, so she's not perfect, but she plays fantastic basketball. And instead, this league, the WNBA was given the kind of player they've been waiting for a long, long time, and this is how they treat her. Only God knows why. And it's disgusting, to say the least. And I feel so horrible, not just for Caitlin Clark, but for her parents and her family, because nobody, and I mean no one, not even people that we dislike, should ever have to go through something like this, because this is way too much pain, and especially when the cameras are all over the place, the lights, it's just way too much. The WNBA needs to do better. They need to hold their refs accountable. And you know what? They need to hold themselves accountable to start. And you know what? As of right now, I'm just going to say it. WNBA, unserious.
Just bad. Especially when you got show teams coming down the pipeline in Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia. Not to mention you got the Connecticut Sun being moved to Houston. This is not good for the league. You want to be taken seriously? You better start treating your top superstar with more dignity and respect, people. Come on.
Mm-hmm. And to close it off, I'd love to watch the WNBA. I'd love to watch the Indiana Fever. I would love to watch more, women's basketball, more WNBA action. But you know what? Because of crap like this, I don't even pay attention to it. I hear about what's going on. I see replays, Caitlin Clark getting hurt, and I'm like, you know what? I'm glad right now watching the WNBA is a waste of my time if this is how they are going to treat players like Caitlin Clark. And you know what? To close it off, the WNBA needs to do better. The officiating crews in the WNBA need to do better. And you know what? The Indiana Fever, as an organization, need to do a way better job having Caitlin Clark's back. Because what Caitlin Clark is going through, no one, and I mean nobody, should ever have to go through. Unacceptable and disgusting.
Very pathetic.
All right, sports fans, I'm ready to shift gears to a more positive subject, and that's the FIFA World Cup. Although, we got to start this off with some bad news. For those of you who are watching, yeah, I'm sorry to give you the bad news. The U.S. lost last night to Turkey, 3-2, especially after giving up a goal in the final minute of the extra time that was added, or the added time added to the 90-minute mark.
Right.
So I will say this: that doesn't feel good. I mean, you definitely don't want to lose like the way you did. Defense has to be better, and of course, now I've got a bad feeling in my gut. This is a Team USA team. I mean, we want to see them go far, but this is a Team USA team, or men's soccer team, that can lose to pretty much anybody in this tournament if they play the way they did last night. The good news is, though, they had mostly backups in, so that minimizes the damage a little bit.
Not to mention any any player that had a single yellow card, those got wiped out in time. Those get wiped out for the knockout rounds. So, if anything, they were keeping guys healthy and not taking chances, wanting to avoid getting players suspended for the next game against Bosnia and Herzegovina on Wednesday.
Absolutely. And it was good. Also, if there is one more positive I'll add, it was good to see Christian Pulisic back in the game, or at least they subbed him in. But kind of a nice thing by the U.S. men's soccer team to gently work him back into the lineup just to see where he's at. But it looks like he's going to be good to go, of course, for the round of 32. So if they're the U.S., all right, just get your minds right. Okay, forget this match. Thankfully, you at least picked the best possible time to lose a match in the World Cup on your home soil. You're already locked up, your group, all that stuff. So it was a match that they could afford to lose at the very least, but it's just less than ideal from a morale standpoint. But
that it is. Stings, but we're basically playing with house money when you think about it. You already got your 2 wins. You already clinched your group, so you're good there.
And hey, I still believe this U.S. team can make a run. If they play like they did in the first 2 games, they can make a run in this tournament. Just got to tighten up some things on defense. Take care of the ball, of course, and also take the lessons that you learned from this loss and apply them going forward. All right. Okay, forget the group. It's time to forget about group stages. It's time to put on the big boy pants, and let's go make some noise in the knockout rounds.
Yep, knockout rounds, win, or you're done until you get to the semifinals. Win to make it a finals, or you'll be lucky to be playing for the bronze medal match.
All right, Team USA, let's go big, or let's literally go home.
Yep.
And speaking of other action, now the U.S., of course, they were not the only team to have a bit of a painful loss. The Germans ended up being shocked by Ecuador 2-1 yesterday.
Ouch.
Thankfully, they had locked up their group, of course. But I will say, Germany is a bit lucky to be in the knockout rounds, considering how they actually had to, in their second game, they had to score a goal in the added time past the 90-minute mark just to dodge a tie. So had that game ended up as a tie, and then following with the results of Ecuador and Germany, it could have been really bad for the Germans, but could be a lot worse if you're Germany.
Yeah, it could have been bad, but it wasn't. That's what matters.
Yeah, they're still in. And then, of course, a couple matches going around. I was following the France-Norway match. We got the people of France versus the Vikings of Norway.
Nice.
And unfortunately, it looks like France won this game, but good news for Norway. They're still in the knockout rounds. It's not the worst thing. They just won't win the group. France will win the group, but that's that French team. They look good. They look like they could win this World Cup. And Norway, they could make some noise, though. I mean, I hope they don't take this loss too hard to heart, because that Norway team is still really, really good. And don't mess around with those Vikings, and don't mess around with Norway fans, because those people, they like to row. I mean,
and they made quite the noise out of the Mets game a few days ago.
I mean, it's awesome. I mean, first we had the Tartan Army, and now we got the Vikings of Norway.
Boston did not like the English from what I've been seeing.
Talk about stirring up the rivalry between Scotland and England.
Well, Boston has some roots going back to Irish heritage, so it doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah. Geopolitical rivalry speaking. So there's that. So a couple other matches going on right now. I mentioned France and Norway were playing, and Uruguay and Spain. Spain looking to lock up that group and build some positive momentum. You got Senegal and Iraq. Last I checked, Senegal was absolutely taking it to Iraq 3-0.
Ouch.
Iran and Egypt, another match to watch. And then you got Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia. Should be an interesting match. And then
Iran, Egypt had quite some interesting developments for external reasoning in the Seattle area. I won't say much.
Yeah. Well, we won't get into the politics there.
It just makes it a little bit uncomfortable if you catch the fact, if you kind of can piece it together.
Yeah. So, and then you got last game of the night, I believe, is Belgium and New Zealand, of course. As far as I know, New Zealand does not look like they're going to advance to the knockout rounds. Belgium trying to get a big win to get themselves into the knockout rounds. So, and you guys are probably all wondering, who's in the knockout rounds? Let me give you a list. I'll run it down. U.S., Mexico, Canada, Australia, France, Germany, Norway, Brazil, Japan, Netherlands, Argentina, Ivory Coast, Switzerland, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Morocco, and South Africa all have punched their tickets to the knockout round.
We will know all of the rest definitely by the end of Saturday.
Yep. And I apologize if I missed anybody on that list. It's a big playoff format, 32 teams, and then it'll shrink down to 16 at the end of the first round, as they say.
Yep. It just gets juicier from here. If you thought the group play was good, Oh, man, it's going to get really fun. No more ties. None of that. You extra 2 50-minute period halves, and then a penalty shootout could very well decide it if still tied. It's going to get fun. Buckle up.
Yep. Put your seatbelts in because this is going to be going to get greasy. And to close it off, hey, the best teams this year in this year's World Cup, they've all been challenged. Even England, whose second match ended up in a tie. So anything goes in this World Cup. Anyone can be challenged. Yes, even the U.S. can be challenged. You just never know how it's going to go. All we can do is sit back, grab some snacks, and enjoy the action.
That we can.
And one final thing I'd like to say before we sign off. I'm going to make a promise to you, sports fans. Those Vikings that I was talking about, those Vikings from Norway, they'll be in the coming future, they'll be one of our golden moments in sports because that rowing they do, it's special.
Yeah, I mean, considering we talked about the Scots a couple of weeks, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago.
Yep, so just wanted to throw that out there. They'll be featured as our golden moment at some point in the future. So with that being said, sports fans, we hope you've enjoyed this week's Friday Roundtable. And once again, a special thanks to Tyler Lavalette. Man, this guy just works so hard, and I'm so proud of him. And special thanks to everybody here at WTV10, Denise and Jim, Josh, Whitney, everybody. Could not make, without you, this would not all be possible. And thank you for your amazing work. Follow us on Two Guys Talk Sports and other things on YouTube for more videos like this, and Two Guys Talk Sports on Facebook for cool stuff, sports related. And sports fans, just a reminder, we're off this upcoming week, as Tyler mentioned, because America's 250th birthday. It's going to be big.
That it will be. We hope you enjoy the festivities and the fireworks, and we will see you on the 10th.
Yep, enjoy, sports fans. But for now, this is Jake Waxman.
And Tyler Lavalette.
Wishing you all a good weekend. Enjoy the 4th of July, everyone.
Bye now.